Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we've got something a little bit different. This is a RC rock crawler we got to review today, and this is called a Devastator. It's basically a four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering little 1/24th scale ready-to-run rock crawler. It's called the Devastator, and it is going to be fun to review this one. The company is HBX, I guess you pronounce it, and it's model 2098B. Anyway, this is a ready-to-run guy. All we need to do is take it out of the box, charge the battery up, and have some fun with it. So, gonna go ahead and unbox this right now. Do kind of a thorough inspection, close-up inspection of it. Look at all the components, and then take it outside. Do some rock crawling. Do some 4x4 and maybe inside too. Set up a little course inside, and so you can see this thing crawl. And then come on back to the bench and do kind of a final little wrap up pros and cons on this guy, kind of like I do with my other little minis, and see how this thing did. If you're interested in this guy, don't forget the links down there in the description of where you can pick this up. Anyway, let's get started with the unboxing. Okay, so first of all, in the box you get the truck in the front. Now I've already kind of taken off the tie wraps on this one. It's basically just tie wraps holding the bottom to the little box stand there. So anyway, I'm going to put that on the side, and this is what you get. So this is the truck here. It looks pretty cool. It's got air-filled tires with real bead locks. And actually, you can see the articulation on the suspension is actually pretty good. And it also has four-wheel steering, as you can see. So there's the articulation there. So for a little 1/24 scale, I think this thing will be pretty fun. And then, as you can see, four-wheel steering on the back. It's got a mini servo on the back and a mini servo on the front. So you can do some killer rock crawling on this, get around some sharp corners without falling over and missing your turns. And then in the other box, there's two boxes. There's one for the truck, and then there's this other one here with this bubble wrap. And it's got the charger for the truck. We'll go over that in just a second. And these guys actually included as you can see, this is a Euro charger, and they included a US adapter in the box. As far as the controller, it's kind of your basic RC car controller with your acceleration, brake, and reverse in that direction, and then you got your steering here. And the controller settings here, we have, of course, the on-off switch. We have the reversing of the throttle and the steering servo, and then we have the bind and mode button, and by just pressing that one time each time, we get the different modes of steering. It's a traditional front only, where the front wheels will only turn, and then we have kind of the monster truck front and rear steering, where the rear follows the front for a sharper turning arc, and then we have the crabs kind of steering, where the rear will actually go in the same direction as the front, so we have that crab left and right. And then we have rear only steering here. So that's kind of cool. In this little 1/24th, they have this type of option to do all kinds of different modes of steering. As far as the batteries go in this one, looks like you're just taking 3 AA batteries here, 1, 2, 3, for batteries of the controller. In the box, they also give us a nice cool set of decals, which I'll be putting on before the test run. So you can just put those on, just give it some more realism, and always looks cooler with stickers. Then, of course, the instruction manual kind of goes through everything I just went through on how to do all the controls in the controller there. Here's the truck. So we got our tires with some cool graphics on them. And as we can see there, it's front and rear steering, which is way cool. Of course, they're not oil-filled shocks, it's just spring shocks. Looks like we have aluminum chassis here with steel links in the front and rear, and then just plastic drive shafts. We've got our central transmission here, and then we have our little motor here driving the whole thing, just one motor here. And then over here we have our ESC. We'll go ahead and take off the top real quick, just with these 4 body clips. Come off nice and easy. Take off the body. Then we can see the internals. Let's get a nice clear shot of the internals, where we can see that aluminum, steel, and aluminum frame here, kind of encasing the all-inclusive receiver and ESC combo. 6 to 9 volt 2S. And we can see with the body off, we can see how we have these 2 little mini servos for the front and rear steering. All the linkages, it looks like they do steel linkage for the servo arm, and then the steering linkages are all plastic here, as well as the cases are all plastic for the front and the rear. And then all the links are all steel. And I'm not sure if the frame is aluminum or steel, but it looks maybe like it's aluminum, and then we have some steel cross braces here. And then this is the all-inclusive speed control / receiver, which is nice and tight in there. I'm going to try to zoom in here to the back of the speed controller, so we can kind of get a nice shot of where you're going to plug in that charge port. So you're going to just plug in right here to charge it, and then plug into the wall. And it looks like it's like an all-inclusive charger, which knows, you know, when to shut off. And then all you have is basically an on-off switch, so you just turn that on and off from right there. With the body on, it may be hard to get to the on-off switch, but with the body on, you could just use like a pen or a pencil or something long just to switch it on and off from in the back like that. Then you have these kind of body post height body adjusters, where you could go higher or lower on the body if you wanted to by just moving these under body clips under the body if you wanted to. And there's our kind of our suspension here, and our articulation left and right for the rear, suspension for the front. It looks like you got a good inch or so of travel on both, and then maybe a little over an inch for the left and right articulation there. Anyway, let's charge battery up, put the stickers on, do some running, see how this thing does, and then come back to the bench and have a final pros and cons. Alright, so here we are in the house with the HBX Devastator rock crawler. I'm going to do a little bit of crawling in the house, and then we're going to go outside and see how it does outside. So just turning on with a pen to stick in there, and then turning on the controller. There we go. Looks like it's bound. And it starts you off in mode 1 here. You can see there's a light in the front wheel steering only. There's a front wheel steering, and then we just kind of press it once to cycle through the modes. Here's front and rear wheel. And then here's kind of like the crab steering. Then hit it one more time, and that's rear only steering. So I'm just going to go right into 4-wheel steering here, and let's see how this thing does. So it's going to be fairly slow because it is a crawler, but as you can see, the articulation is pretty good to get over some obstacles for a little mini like this. And the tires are definitely really grippy. Just gonna go over a few household items, and then we'll switch it up outside. See how it does on this little course here. Over the face of an iPad. There's definitely going to be no problem for it. Don't want to flip it, so we'll go back. There we go. Alright, let's go take it outside for a sec, see how it does outside. Okay, let's go put it through its paces on some actual rocks here. See how it does. Definitely holding its own through the rocks. A good shot of the articulation there. So this is full throttle right here if I'm going to just punch it full throttle. So that's kind of full throttle, so it's not a super fast truck. It's just a slow crawler. And when the tires bind, it looks like it's pretty good at not twisting or breaking anything, any drive shafts. It just kind of binds and stops. It's not going to break the drive shafts. There we go. Follows, fails, power through. So this one you're definitely gonna want to choose your lines wisely because the axle does hang pretty low. But you know, if you can choose your lines pretty good, it looks like you can get over some pretty hard obstacles. Alright, cool. So there's a little demo drive of the HBX Devastator. And let's get this thing back to the bench, do a little quick little pros and cons, see how this thing did. Alright, so back on the bench with the HBX Devastator rock crawler. And as you can see, did some little bit of rock crawling in the house over some pillows and stuff. And also did some crawling over some actual rocks. Off of the sidewalk there was some nice perfect rocks for this size rock crawling, and it seemed like this thing performed pretty well. So I'm gonna go over some pros and cons real quick on this guy and wrap this HBX crawler up. So really nice soft sticky tires for crawling. It's got real bead locks in here, so that's definitely a bonus. It seemed like whatever you tried to do, I did have a couple more runs that I didn't show on video that I went ahead and I was in the house on some pillows and I was binding the tires all the way up, and it seems like nothing's going to break on this. It's going to just kind of bog out before anything breaks. So you won't have to worry about like drive shafts breaking, gears breaking, you know, steering rods breaking, any of that stuff. Gears, it doesn't seem like gears in the differentials or the pumpkins are going to break. I actually don't even think this thing has a differential. It seems like it's pretty locked in there. It's kind of like just locked front and locked rear and locked in the center here. So you're not going to get any kind of differential spin on this one, it doesn't seem. But the construction is really well done. It seems like they got metal in all the right places. They do have the metal on the axles on the front and the rear. These are actually plastic, but it doesn't seem like that's going to matter, that the actual middle drive shafts are plastic, because I did a bunch of binding and torquing and trying to power out of stuff, and not even a slight twist in these guys. So I think they did it right, where the power is not enough to break anything on this one, although it will get through some pretty rough stuff. Of course, the four-wheel steering is awesome, and the way you can change the modes of the four-wheel steering is also awesome too on the controller. How you have that option to do 4 different modes of steering here by just the press of a button. One thing, and I know this is asking a lot for a $50 crawler like this, which is super cheap, and I've never really seen one that cheap and with this actually good of quality. So don't forget to check that out in the description down below. I'll have the link to where you can get this guy. Amazing price for what this thing can do. But anyway, getting back to one more option that would have been ultimately awesome for this price would have been to kind of temporarily disable the front or rear wheels from driving. And that's kind of how more of the higher end crawlers are, is you can, if you get stuck and you want to kind of crab walk the front around a rock and leave the rear, you know, staying there, you can either turn off the rear and then just have the front, or vice versa. You can turn off the front and just have the rear moving. So that would have been really neat, but you know, that's a lot to ask for something like this. It's already got the different modes of steering, and that's definitely even more than I would ask for in my book, let alone the four-wheel steering option it already has. But otherwise, everything is solid. Didn't have any problems with it so far. I did run it pretty hard in the rocks and at home for a couple of runs, and I had no problems whatsoever. Definitely looks really cool with the stickers on the body. As you can see here, I got the stickers on here, and it just gives it, you know, that cool factor for any RC car when you have cool stickers on the truck. And they give you that whole sheet of stickers you can put on. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked the review of the HBX Devastator Rock Crawler. Definitely fun. I think you'll like it if you are into, you know, micro rock crawling and stuff like that. This is definitely one to keep an eye out for. Maybe get one of these for a child, or even yourself if you're into like mini stuff like this. This is definitely a cool truck to have around. Definitely performs very well. Articulation also was pretty good for a little mini rock crawler like this. You can see the amount of articulation is pretty darn good for how big it is. Anyway, links where to get this again are down in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.